Hey everyone, Chris Walker, your security doctor, back again with a quick tooltip on creating a custom table and importing a catalog of known vulnerabilities from CISA.gov. Now, I've had a couple of colleagues and some customers ask me about this, like how can I demonstrate it? Well, it's pretty easy to import and generate a visual report, which can be actually added to performance analytics. So let's go ahead and get after it. All right, so today's objective is to create a custom table, import the data, and then visually represent where these vulnerabilities live and breathe as it pertains to the product, the vulnerability name, CVE ID, and some other areas that CISA.gov is going to provide us within that known vulnerability catalog. So for today's discussion, we're going to be focusing on vulnerability response from a performance analytics perspective, creating that custom CISA table, and then visually representing that in a simple pie chart. So let's go ahead and get right into my instance. So as you can see here, I'm in my instance, San Diego release. Let's go. We are excited to be here, but first and foremost, let's go ahead and break this down into 5 simple steps. Yes, 5 steps will get you exactly what you need. First and foremost, step 1, we're gonna head over to the application navigator and we're gonna type in tables. Specifically, we're looking at the tables under system definition. So let's click on the tables option. Now, the second step is to enter the appropriate fields on the form. Now you'll see we have a list of different tables. We need to now go ahead and create a new custom table that's going to represent the imported data from CISA.gov. So I'm going to go ahead and name this CISA known vulnerabilities. And notice because I'm in a scoped application, it automatically adds the prefix of SN-vul. If I was in a global application scope, then it would be represented differently, but make sure, because we're trying to harden those security controls, make sure you're in the right scoped application so that this table is accessible for those users and for those roles. So now that we have that done, everything else is ready to rock and roll here. We can go ahead and hit submit. And what's going to happen now is when we hit submit, it's now going to show us a couple of different columns that have been pre-populated for us to start gathering this information that we're going to be importing. Now what that looks like is a little something like this. Here I have my known CISA vulnerabilities table, and I have actually already populated some of the different column labels that are going to be required in order for me to match that Excel workbook spreadsheet that I'm going to be importing. So if you'll see here again, we're doing this step by step. Step 3 is to navigate to your import source. Here we can download this information from the catalog. So you see here, I can download the CSV version. Then when I go back to my table, I can actually import this information. Now, one caveat, which I'll pop up over here, is that we are not able to actually import the CSV here in this particular instance. We can only import an XLS or XLSX workbook. So make sure you convert that and save as the Excel workbook. But once that is done, I'm going to go over to show the list of records, which in this case, there are no records because step 4 is to do the actual import. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm excited. So we're going to right click on the first column. We're going to click on import. And then you have a series of options. We're not going to create an Excel template because we already have the data. We're simply going to choose the file. And you'll see here it is in my downloads as an XLSX Excel workbook. I'm going to open it. And with a matter of seconds here, we're going to have all this relevant information imported into our known vulnerabilities table. So 5 seconds, a little long. Let's go ahead and preview the imported data. We can see all of those records have been represented and captured. We're going to scroll to the bottom to complete step 4, which was completing the import. The last step, step 5, is to right click on this particular table. In this case, we're going to click on the top column. And we're going to select the pie chart because we want to create that visual representation for our CIO or our CISO. So here we can see our pie in the sky. It's got a lot of different vulnerabilities and CVEs being represented in this table. I actually want this to be represented in a couple different ways. So we're going to group by not only the CVE ID, but we're also going to look at product, if there's a required action, vendor project, and the actual name of the vulnerability. So we'll move that up to the top here. And then I'm going to click OK. Now, I'm also going to change the name of this because that is way too long. So let's call this the CISA known vulnerabilities And now I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Now notice what's going to happen is it's going to now go ahead and give me a group by drop down option. So now if I wanted to see this by product, I can see all the products that are impacted by those vulnerabilities. Or if I wanted to see this based on vulnerability name, I can simply see that diced out through a pie chart by vulnerability names. So now that I have this saved, I'm going to save it again because I love to save. We're now going to go ahead and add this to our performance analytics dashboard. So when I click on the sharing button, I have the ability to share, schedule, but here I'm going to add this to an existing dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my vulnerability management or CISO dashboard. It's really entirely up to you on where you want to represent it. I'm going to put this on the CISO dashboard, and I'm going to put this under the overview page. Now, when I click add, it is now going to add that to the overview page, and it's actually going to now populate that specific dashboard to show me the actual dashboard in question. So now here I can see all of the information visually represented. In a mere matter of just a few minutes and a few clicks, I now have the information I need to be successful as a vulnerability analyst. As always, thank you so much for allowing me to do what I do. And as always, stay safe.